Good morning.
Democratic second election.
Man, I am so excited to be here with so many friends to stand for Colorado workers. Welcome everybody to the launch of Colorado Workers' Rights United. We are a coalition of over 50 labor unions and community organizations dedicated to expanding worker freedom here in the state of Colorado and to advocate for fair pay and workplace safety. We are so excited to lead the fight to protect workers here in Colorado and show the rest of the country how we can stand up for working people. I believe deeply that at the heart and soul of the Democratic Party, at our best, is when we stand with working people and stand for expanded collective bargaining rights. It is uniquely hard to form a union in the state of Colorado, and we are asking our colleagues to affirm the right to collectively bargain and fight for better pay and safer workplaces. It is no secret that everyday Coloradans struggle to get by, while billionaire business owners have never been richer. The results of this past election should be a 5-alarm fire for Democrats. We have to return to our roots and center the concerns of working families. This is an opportunity to return to that commitment to workers and collective bargaining. We are on the side of working people and not on the side of the billionaire class. I want to thank Attorney General Weiser, Secretary of State Jenna Griswold, State Treasurer Dave Young, Colorado Democratic Party Shad Marie for being here today to stand with workers. And now I'm going to kick it off to my good friend and my senator, our Senate Majority Leader, Robert Rodriguez.
Good morning, colleagues, legislators, state electeds, and brothers and sisters. Today I'm here in support of Colorado workers. As many of you know, strong unions mean a stronger middle class. Coloradans are forced to choose between putting food on the table and paying rent. Meanwhile, wealthy corporations are reaping record profits, often by keeping wages low and cutting corners on workplace safety. We know that strong unions level the playing field between employers and their employees. Colorado makes it difficult for workers to stand up for themselves and their coworkers, and I'm appalled that we have a law that restricts workers' rights in our state. Most states require just one simple majority vote for workers who want to form a union to advocate for better pay and safer workplaces in line with the federal law. Colorado's workers must make it through this first election to have their union recognized. It's hard enough to get through the first election because many bosses intimidate, retaliate against organizing workers, forcing them to attend anti-union meetings, threatening their work schedules, and even firing them for union activities. Yet, Colorado's outdated law requires a second election with even a higher supermajority bar to even allow an employer-employee conversation on union security. Winning this second election doesn't even ensure union security. It only means it could be negotiated between workers and management. Colorado's laws insert government into these negotiations. Workers don't need the government to tell them what is right for them in their workplace. The second election gives anti-union employers yet another opportunity to bully workers, creates even more barriers for workers who want to level the playing field. Colorado's required second election is too much and it's not right. My co-sponsors, Senator Danielson, Assistant Majority Leader Bacon, and Rep. Mabry and I are committed to right this wrong. We will introduce the Worker Protection Act the first week of the session. It will eliminate the second election so workers are empowered to stand together for better pay and safety. Colorado workers have earned the right to have their voices heard at work. And I want to thank you all for being here today and to give time to my other colleagues to speak. We're looking forward to giving hard-working Coloradans the freedom they need to improve their lives and workplaces.
All right, now I want to introduce a labor organizer and Starbucks worker, Liza Nelson.
Hi everyone, my name is Liza Nielsen and I'm truly so grateful to be here with all of y'all today. As a worker who has fought hard for our union, I'm honored to share my story with you and the story of so many of my fellow workers who have stood up for our rights at Starbucks. I'm a shift supervisor at Starbucks and I was also one of the worker organizers who helped lead the campaign to organize the first Starbucks store in Colorado and Superior. It's been a long and challenging journey, but we've made incredible strides. However, that progress has not come without a fight. In fact, the company's response to our organizing efforts was extremely hostile. From the very beginning, we were forced into group anti-union meetings with local and district managers, meetings that were designed to intimidate and manipulate us. Starbucks then took it even further by bringing in out-of-town corporate executives who would single out workers one at a time, sit in our cafe, and try to break us down. It felt like a full-on attack. And on top of that, we were constantly threatened with retaliation. We were told our hours and benefits would be slashed, and we were heavily surveilled. And some were even fired simply for standing up for our right to organize. In fact, the company tried to fire me twice, but because I recorded those conversations where they made these threats, they were forced to back down. We could not be intimidated, and we refused to let our rights be stripped away. Unfortunately, we lost at least half of our staff. Some were fired, others couldn't take the constant bullying and decided to leave. But we still did not give up. After months of organizing, we finally won our union in April of 2021. But even after nearly 3 years, we're still waiting for our first contract. It's been a long process. I'm currently on the bargaining team, and we've been bargaining for 6 months. Recently, the company agreed to begin discussing economic issues, so we're in the thick of it, and we hope to ratify a contract by the end of the year. But make no mistake, the struggle is far from over. For example, I was recently followed by a manager while I was dropping off leaflets. She followed me store to store. So they've watched us, intimidated us, and have previously shown they would stop at nothing to prevent workers from having a voice. And if that wasn't enough, we're now gearing up for a second union security election. A fight, a significant additional difficulty on top of the fight we've already been in for 3+ years. It's outrageous that workers, just for wanting to negotiate for better pay, better benefits, and a safer workplace, are subjected to harassment. We're not asking for anything unreasonable. We're simply asking for the ability to bargain collectively to level the playing field against one of the largest corporations in the world. That's where we need your help. We need our elected officials to step up and support us, to ensure that we have the right to organize without fear of retaliation. We need policies that protect workers from this kind of corporate bullying and that give us a fair chance to negotiate for better wages, benefits, and working conditions. On behalf of all my Starbucks coworkers and all workers across the state who are fighting for a better life, I want to thank you for standing with us. Together, we're fighting for freedom, fairness, and economic opportunity, and your support means everything to us. And with it, we will continue to push for the rights and respect that every worker deserves.
Let's go!
That is why we're here, as if Starbucks cannot afford to pay a living wage. That is exactly why we are here. Next, I am super excited to introduce my House co-prime, our assistant majority leader from the far, 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 far northeast of Denver.
Thank you. Look at all of us. How great do we look? This is the face of Colorado, everyone. We represent every corner of this state, every generation, every ethnicity, gender. Thank you all so much for believing in us, that we can truly be a government that represents the people. Thank you all so much for being here. You know, I think it's really important to note, particularly for me and for many others, how often working people have shown up for us to put their sweat, right, blood and tears behind not only providing great opportunities for folks across the state, but to also show up to tell us what is it that our neighbors are feeling and thinking. We know after this last national election that Americans really support, 7 out of 10 American voters support labor unions. And they support unions because they see themselves. I was a teacher once, and I made $26,000 a year. And I was proud to send my $20, $30 for my union dues, so that if something fell in a classroom, or my floor came up, or I had mold in the classroom, and yes, those are conditions of classrooms in America, I had someone who had my back to keep my students healthy, to keep me in a place where I could be healthy. But more importantly, I had a group, a community to say, this is what our community demands by way of excellence. That is the power of unions. But I also want to point out that just like me being a teacher, we're talking about working people. I made $26,000 a year. Sure, we make more than that these days, just a smidge. We can talk about K-12 later. But we're talking about people who get up every day, who go to work, want to provide for their families. We're not talking about millionaires and billionaires. We're talking about people who make a decent wage, who are willing to give over a few dollars so someone and a group of people can have their back. And I just want to say today, this legislature has your back, workers. Thank you everyone for coming out to support the Worker Protection Act. At the end of the day, what we're talking about is removing a procedural speed bump that all it does is slow people down from accessing what I would call justice. I think about all the other things we have claimed to be nothing but speed bumps that allow discrimination and allow disenfranchisement. I think about what it means to say you have the right to vote and then you have to take a test. And so if a group of people know what it is that they want and need to be able to work well, to thrive, to provide for their families, to be able to afford getting sick, to be able to go on a vacation, why would we as the government get in the way of the will of the people in a country that was founded on that very principle? We do not tolerate intimidation for the will of the people. We do not tolerate oppression in that way. And so when I come up here to sponsor this, along with my colleague senators, everyone here, this bill is a signal to the folks in Colorado that we believe in you, we believe in the backbone of what it takes to build healthy communities by having people feel confident in the work that they do and the ability to advocate for themselves, so that they can get paid a living wage and do all those things we say is possible here in America. And so the Worker Protection Act is necessary. It is necessary. It is necessary that we have it here in the state of Colorado, a state that is welcoming to all. And that includes our workers. So we are going to do the job to be sure that anyone across the state knows that they will not have a barrier from this government to be sure that they can achieve what they want to achieve, which is a good day's work at a good wage to support their families and to inevitably support our communities. And so I want to thank everybody for being here today. I want to thank everybody. Please see, as we say in our community, trust, know, believe, and receive. That this is going to be a state that has union security in place after the first election. Thank you so much. It is an honor to co-sponsor this bill.
All right, Now I want to pass it to a tremendous advocate for working families and the poor here in Colorado, Sophie Miriam from the Colorado Fiscal Institute.
Thank you. My name is Sophie Merriam, and I'm a labor policy analyst at the Colorado Fiscal Institute, CFI, where we advocate for an economy that works for everyone. Unions improve the lives of Colorado's working people and their families. Our teachers, our nurses, our janitors, electrical workers, the people that power our economy. By giving working folks the ability to negotiate better wages, benefits, and safer working conditions, unions not only uplift their members, but they promote growth and good jobs for all Coloradans. But for too long, we've seen an attack on labor unions and workers. This suppression of workers' rights is weakening Colorado's economy, and it must be changed. Today, CFI released a report that shows the concrete benefits of making Colorado a pro-worker state. Today, we stand here with a simple message. Progress is still possible. By removing unnecessary and harmful obstacles to form a union, we can restore workers' rights. Colorado's anti-union law hurts workers' chances to form and sustain unions, but more than that, it harms our entire economy because unions mean higher wages and economic stability for all. On average, union workers earn 10% more than non-union workers with the same job, education, and experience. Unions can reduce economic inequality. For 4 decades, income inequality has increased by 40%. The decline of private sector unions alone contributes to a fifth to a third of that increase. Unions can help address historic inequalities by closing racial income and wealth gaps, uplifting Coloradans of color. Relative to non-union families, racial wealth gaps are cut in half for union families. Woo! Meanwhile, anti-union laws hurt state economies. Anti-union laws like Colorado's lower job quality and wages for all workers. Right. And there's zero evidence, that they create more jobs. Rather, Colorado businesses stand to benefit. By increasing job satisfaction and giving employees a voice in their working conditions, unions help retain more productive workers. This reduces turnover costs and can create more workforce stability. Firms need to invest in human capital development, improving our business outcomes. Unions help promote long-run business growth. Wages in anti-union states are lower than in pro-worker states. Based on this, CFI estimates that modernizing Colorado's labor law will boost wages by nearly $2,500 for all workers. That is $5.7 billion in the pockets of Colorado's working families. The evidence is clear. The time is now to modernize Colorado's labor law to better serve our working families and grow the economy for everyone. Thank you.
All right, I am so honored to be co-sponsoring this bill with Senator Jessie Danielson, who has spent her entire time here in the Senate fighting like hell for workers. And now I'm going to give her the mic.
It's kind of an awesome short introduction. Thank you. But yes, folks, for those of you who don't know me, I'm Jessie Danielson, and I'm a prime sponsor of the Worker Protection Act. I want to thank very briefly the broad coalition that's here today alongside our union brothers and sisters. You've got environmental advocacy organizations, religious organizations, community support organizations, voting rights groups. I mean, I could go on and on and on because that shows that this bill is a good bill for all Coloradans. And to the workers who are in the building today and the unions that represent them, you have my heartfelt gratitude. I could not be more excited to be here today to work on this important measure. We've heard about some of the significant challenges facing Colorado workers these days. And yet, it's the amazing workers across the state who are driving this economy and making our state the incredible place that it is. We're here today to fight for the rights and freedoms of those outstanding Colorado workers. Because workers deserve a safe place to do their jobs. They deserve fair pay for the hard work that they put in, protection from retaliation, and a seat at the table when it comes to decisions about their own jobs and their workplaces. We have been laboring under an unfair and outdated policy that makes it harder for workers to unionize, harder to seek those basic human rights that they deserve and that come with union security workplaces. Now is the time to address that problem and pass the Worker Protection Act. Union security doesn't just increase safety and benefits for the workers, but also for the members of the general public. For example, protected union nurses feel comfortable speaking up for patients' care, right? Construction workers with union security are able to flag unsafe builds. Secure hospitality workers feel empowered to bring up food safety threats to avoid dangerous situations like the recent E. coli breakout at McDonald's. And countless other ways. When you improve the workplace for the workers, it extends to the general population. Right. This change in the Colorado law is long overdue, and I am so pleased and proud to be here today to pass the Worker Protection Act to stand up for the rights and freedoms of all Colorado workers. Thank you again to all the brothers and sisters in the room. We see you. And I look forward to seeing you here in the buildings too when it's time to pass the legislation. I'm going to hand it back over to my friend.
All right, now I want to pass the mic to Rick Martin, who is a King Soopers worker and UFCW member and organizer.
Hi, I'm Rich Martin. I've worked for King Soopers for 38 years. Most stores were organized before Colorado's unfair law went into effect more than 80 years ago. That means they were able to negotiate union security after the first election. My store in Broomfield opened later and is the only King Soopers without union security. About 7 years ago, we decided to organize a second vote so that we could negotiate union security. Management ran a very intense anti-union campaign. Absolutely. And the store manager wouldn't allow people to take time to go down to vote. So we lost the vote. Without union security, King Soopers can and does outsource our work to subcontractors, which is very good. We do not know if they have done background checks or have been through proper food safety training. Sorry. Also, we have a lot of concerns we don't feel comfortable bringing up to management, like we don't have enough time to properly clean to protect workers and the customer's safety. Thank you.
I think it's important for us to remember that in Colorado, the Democratic Party has a trifecta. Whether or not this passes is totally in the hands of the Democratic Party, and I am excited to announce that the chair of the Colorado Democratic Party, Shad Marib, is here because he knows that labor stands with us when we're knocking on doors and campaigning. And now it's our time to stand with you. So I'm going to pass it to Shad.
Thank you, Representative. Good morning. How good is it to be here together? It is wonderful. My name is Shad Marib. I'm the chair of the Colorado Democratic Party. Workers have been under attack in Colorado for too long, and the Worker Protection Act will end it. We are ready to pass this legislation and put our money where our mouth is and stand up for our democratic values. We all agree that Colorado should be one of the best places to start a business, but it should also be one of the best places to be a worker in this country. Is that right? Better pay, safer working conditions, and better health benefits. That's what being in a union promises. That means you get workers who are happier, who are more productive. That means that we're attracting businesses to this state who are ready for a productive, safe, healthy, and happy workforce. Is that right? So, the rights of Colorado workers who want to join together in unions have been under attack, like I mentioned. It is time to turn the page on these anti-worker policies in Colorado. I'm very proud to be here, being with all these Democrats, being with our brothers, sisters in labor to make sure that we put our money where our mouth is, support workers, finally get better pay, better working conditions, and better health care for more workers by reducing the bureaucracy and burdens of forming a union in this state. So you guys ready to pass this bill? Yeah! Let's get after it.
Thank you, Shad. And thank you, everybody, for coming out and showing your support for Colorado workers. I think everybody here knows that the status quo is broken, and it is in our hands to do something about it. It is unnecessarily difficult for workers to form unions in our state, and we can take a stand and say we are the party of working people, and that we will stand on their side. My generation is the first generation since World War II to be worse off than my parents. And that is directly tied to union membership. As union membership has declined in this country, income inequality and corporate profits have skyrocketed. Shame! National pundits have been highlighting that Colorado Democrats performed uniquely well in this election. And this is where we get a chance to put up or shut up. As we face the threats of authoritarianism from Trump and his monopolist buddies working together to gut federal labor protections, working people need the tools to fight back. Right. Colorado's broken labor law and the second election stand in their way. Let's change that. So we're thrilled to announce that we're going to be bringing the Worker Protection Act to level the playing field for workers fighting for better pay and safe workplaces. More than 10 years ago, President Obama reminded us that we should be doing everything in our power to expand collective bargaining rights in this country. This is our chance to heed that call here in Colorado and double down on the core values of the Democratic Party. As Martin Luther King said, the labor movement was the principal force that transformed misery and despair into hope and progress. And so I ask my colleagues, which side are you on? Which side are you on, Colorado Democrats? This is our chance to put up or shut up. The power is completely in our hands, and I am so excited to be fighting alongside the workers who are here today and for the working people in the state of Colorado. If anybody wants to know more about this legislation, please talk to some of the workers that we have here today, and we'll make sure that we're connecting you with the right people who have been on the front lines in this fight. Thank you, everybody.